This is the voice of the Committee of Enigmas, a subsidiary group of the Trans-Global Institute of Archaeological Investigations. My name is Dr. Mungo McRae, and I wish to bring you Part 2 of Station 44, The Beyond Machine. Members of the committee will notice the strange speech patterns and the linguistic peculiarities of the sentence structure in the vocal delivery of the found transmission from Station 44. The accent is unfamiliar, and the tenor and timbre of the intonations beyond recognition. It appears to be North American, but is also unlike anything that we have ever heard. And to this extent, it does indeed appear to be a transmission from the ulterior timescapes of the future. In the meantime, I've received another package from Dr. Marian Taknassis, fast on the heels of the future transmission, which I have received presently during the course of this broadcast you listen to now. This new package appears to be yet another tape recording, which I shall play for you in due course. My assistant, Miss Marley Gray, is arranging the tape discs on the magnetophone or reel-to-reel tape recorder as I speak. But before playing the recording, let me convey the handwritten letter from Dr. Taknassis that came with it. It reads, "To my friends and fellow members of the committee, I have sent this package separately by means of a special courier, one of my trusted agents of the secret Glen. You will not meet him, Dr. McRae, and he will depart from the vicinity of the university without you noticing him. I must warn you that what you're about to listen to is very disturbing, and by all intents and purposes appears to make no sense. However, I've read the files relating to the event and can provide some background for the Committee of Enigmas to consider more broadly, which I will do with the utmost urgency. Please listen to this recording with minimum delay, right now if you can, and return to my letter immediately after. I believe that it is better for members of the committee to listen to this recording prior to receiving my explanations and the knowledge it brings, so as to enable you to apply your judgment without the interference and biases of the full disclosure. Let me say only that the recording comes from a session involving the activation of government technologies that resemble our own, similarly constructed with a view to locating exoscientific presences in the space-time continuum. I have already explained how the government technologies, which they have called the Beyond Machine, have taken this a step further, that they have infiltrated the temporal as well as the spatial perspectives of the material order. I'm afraid that this has resulted in a new development which will become clearer to you as you listen to the following recording. The recording documents the advanced experiments of the government's scientific cohort based at the secret facility of Station 44, and reveals also a singular increase in the scope of the unimaginable, such as it comes with new discoveries that confound everything. Your friend and colleague, Dr. Marian Taknassis." Thus the letter concludes, and I believe it incumbent on us to follow the instruction of Dr. Taknassis verbatim. Clearly, she intends us to listen without prejudice, as is customary in our approaches to strange phenomena of an acoustic nature. Miss Marley Gray has now readied the tapes on the magnetophone reel-to-reel playback device. Please prepare yourself for the following transmission, which is coming to you in T-10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Who are you?
I am the one who sees.
What is your name?
My name is not for ye nameless ones.
Where do you come from? There is no place that contains me.
I see you all, the phantasmata, rising in your spectral forms. What do you mean? Explain yourself. I see you all, and I banish you. The blade of time is the shadow in reverse. Instead of darkness, it intensifies the allure of death with the brightness of steel. It is the sharp edge of what is inevitable. It makes ready the eye to receive its torments. It prepares the attributions of the puncture wound for the dismal retributions of pain. The receiver of the wound mitigates nothing. Retributions, a mode of feeling bent on vengeance, an acquiescence to the weakness of revenge. This ghost is not the victim here. It is the victim of the victim, the source of a misery that plagues its own destruction. Revenge. How easily it appeals to the heart with the satisfaction of the ultimate rebuke to a hated foe. A feeling contained in the inanimate body of the weapon itself. The blade becomes an extension of the first cause of human desire. The desire to kill. The rest, as they say, is history. The blade leaves the black mark of emptiness in the nightshirt of the floating victim of the victim. It is the source of the light that was extinguished from the body by the arm of the violent rebuke. Without the light, the body becomes a remnant of transparency that only I and others like me can see. A formless apparition with a semblance of form that stands between the absence and presence of the something and nothing of what is there but what is not. I see it yet, fumbling in the gloom on the wrong side of the door, unable to navigate its own escape from the death of life, panicked and disorientated by the moment of the fatal assault. And at that moment, he, not the ghost but the man, was a transfiguration of the soul into a bastion of spirithood, now looping in the moment of its own confusion, condemned to repeat a cycle of strange maneuvers in space and time, straying from the paths of repetition, if only to harass the human occupants with a sense of physical outrage. Objects fly, and an instinct for sadness. A devastation melancholy fills the room like a vapor. I finish seeing, and I confirm to the exorcist, he is here, and I point my finger to the invisible. He is here. And I leave the room, pushing past the imaginary blockades of my need to escape, which I never can. They come unbidden to my sight, like the escaped memories of someone else's past. My terrors are awakened constantly during the pursuit of my senses. I hear them too, given that during those instances of seeing them, they too can see me. They too can see me. Professor Teknasis writes, I have conducted an analysis of this recording and submit the following hypothesis in regards to what is heard. It is a dialogue or a soliloquy, the voice of a confused spirit, a tormented soul. It is the projection of a thought process extrapolated from the traumatized mind of what, in olden Europe, they used to call a ghost-seer, a rare personage of special psychic abilities who is able, by the exertions of their clairvoyant gift, to perceive the phantasmata
of the unliving,
to interact with them with a view to extinguishing them from the mortal plane. Restless spirits, poltergeists, or demonic possessions were the main targets of their skills, provided upon request by the troubled receiver of a ghostly influence, or by a member of the clergy who was compelled to undertake an exorcism on the part of a distressed member of their congregation. I believe, according to my researches, that the spirit of the ghost-seer you have just now listened to comes from the depths of the 18th century. 1746, to be precise. I believe that it refers to the presence of a ghost in Delgatay Castle, a site which lies within the vicinity of Mormont Hill, within range, in other words, of the electromagnetic transmissions of the Beyond Machine, which they have engineered and activated at the secret facility of Station 44. But what is especially strange about this particular manifestation is this. The recording we have heard is one of the ghost of a ghost-seer who was transported into our spatial temporal dimension through the operations of the Beyond Machine, which has provided access not only to sound, but to a rogue phantasmic entity, in this case, a ghost-seer, who has entered the realm of the present day from an anterior point of its own history. What is even stranger, however, is that the ghost of the ghost-seer appears to have died or been killed during his participation in the detection and elimination of a haunting spirit. Indeed, I am convinced that the ghost-seer was killed or counter-eliminated by a powerful spirit during a violent exorcism, one that went dramatically wrong, and that he became himself a ghost, and that, as a ghost, he was killed in a moment of intense shock without knowing what had happened to him. I believe that he does not perceive himself to be a ghost, that he is unaware of his own death, and that he looks upon us, the corporeal bodies of living matter, as a multitude of phantasmic presences that occupy the physical world. In effect, the ghost-seer has entered into a state of reversal between the planes of being, seeing us as the troubled and invasive spirits of hauntings which are to be vanquished from the material. He is unaware of the inside-outness of his existence and is critically locked in the trauma of stupefaction and the aftermath of sudden death. He is a rogue spirit who journeys from one place to another, compelled to repeat the actions of his vocation, such as he experienced them at the moment of his dire end. It is my belief that the ghost-seer will attempt to eliminate any human being who falls within the range of his perceptions, in consequence of which he will cause them great harm. In doing so, he evaporates the souls, the internal anima, the intelligence, the quiddity, and the metaphysics of consciousness that inhabits every human subject at the material core of their being. What you have heard just now in the magnetic tape audio recording are the crazed articulations of the ghost-seer who, having delivered them, then proceeded to attack the men in the room who had witnessed his materialization through the weird portals of the Beyond Machine. I have been informed that there were 2 senior scientists, 3 technicians, an army administrator, and 2 security guards, all of whom have been severely affected by their encounter with the ghost-seer. My contact described their condition as severely depleted in physical appearance, as if drained of the very substance of life, even while they lived and breathed. Their tongues hung lopsided from their mouths, with eyes void of comprehension. Their lips were twisted as if in the throes of a dire humor they could not suppress. Their bodies lay limp and bereft, it seemed, of the ability to move. They were like living corpses, stunned into a self-contained silence, with obliterated minds and a wholesale eradication of who and what they were. I believe, in short, that they have been dispossessed of their souls, such as we describe them, and that the impact of the reversed exorcisms of the Ghost-seer, undertaken from the wrong direction of the material divide, has produced an effect of death in life, or a zombification of the human vessel that leads to an existential emptiness on the profoundest scale. Worse than this, I've now received reports of strange incidents occurring at 2 locations within the vicinity of Station 44, namely 5E Castle to the immediate south of Mormont Hill, and the Kinnaird Head Wine Tower in Fraserburgh, lying slightly to the northeast. Both these buildings have something in common. They are known to be haunted, and prodigiously given to the unusual experiences of many visitors. It appears to me, even at this stage, that the Ghost-seer drifts between established hotspots of supernatural incidents for reasons which I cannot fathom. Places which are known for the visitations and sonifications of poltergeists, phantoms, and wraiths. Scenes beholden to cults and cryptids, and the atmospheric peculiarities of their mood and setting. I will keep you posted on any further reports of encounters with the Ghost-seer, with an expectation that we must petition ourselves to act with some urgency. Is it possible, for example, to bolster our technologies in order to reverse the modalities of the parafaction device and its principal functions? And by doing so, return the entity of the Ghost-seer to the subatomic extremities of the historical haunting space he has emerged from. I will leave it to you to consider these outcomes. For myself, I must continue my investigations and will contact you as soon as I can. Yours in haste, Dr. Marian Tarkanassis.